Okay, welcome everybody to today's webinar. Today we'll be talking about discovering the self-service welcome terminal accelerator. This is of course part of a larger series where we present new ideas, trends and solutions both inside and outside SAP. For those who are wondering, today we're August 20th and as said we'll be talking about the welcome terminal portal accelerator. First, some basic housekeeping rules. Please use your full name when registering, when signing in. Everybody will be muted, so you will only be hearing me and my colleague. The session will be recorded and you will receive the recording afterwards in your email. You can chat with us and questions are more than welcome. We will take them up at the end of the session. So, who have you been listening to until now? So, my name is Bert van Bree. I'm the solution designer and project manager at Flexso, which means that I follow up a solution from the very beginning, the concept, until the very end, where we actually go live. The other person speaking today will be Fuad. He is at Flexso for 11 years, and he is the development lead for this type of solutions. So, what will we be discussing today? So, the ingredients. We first have a quick overview of the topic. What does it mean? And what is the text behind it? We will see why we would need a welcome terminal, what is inside the package, and how we actually can accomplish making this package work for you. So, having a quick look at the topic. Today is all about increasing efficiency, transparency, and safety on your logistics site. For this, we can deliver you a multilingual welcome terminal kiosk that can automate delivery registration, the safety training, and the physical admissions to your site. Of course, this is fully integrated with your ERP, and it will you can even extend it with number plate recognition, cameras, and smart docking. So that's, in a nutshell, what we'll be talking about today. So, why would you need a welcome terminal? Well, the first thing is we saw different pain points on the floor at our customers. The first thing is waiting lines at your physical admissions office. So this is an actual picture that was taken by one of our customers, and you can even recognize our colleagues waiting in line together with truck drivers. This means that your people need to actually wait before they can register. This waiting time is of course very sensitive. Second thing that we saw is a language barrier. Truck drivers from all over the world arrive at your site today, and not all of them understand English, French, or German. Communicating with them is often a challenge, not only for your employees, but for everyone involved in the process, even for the most basic parts, such as safety regulations or knowing where to pick up goods or drop them off. We also saw that it's very difficult to know who's coming in today. And even more difficult is assigning the correct dock to them, making sure that the operator knows where which truck needs to be loaded or unloaded. Often, valuable time is lost trying to find the driver or truck that needs to be handled. With drivers showing up at the wrong time or place, they often park nearby, blocking local roads or causing nuisances with your neighborhood. And of course, drivers who don't really understand where they need to be or what the safety measures are, they create hazardous situations. Usually this isn't the big thing until it is. And if something goes really, really wrong and evacuation is needed, often it's not clear who is currently on your site, especially for visitors and truck drivers. So these are the pain points that we saw with our customers. We put ourselves 4 objectives within the logistics process. So the first thing is, how can we reduce manual work? Making sure that your staff is on top of things at all time and heavily reduce waiting times. We wanted to optimize communication, making sure that everybody understands each other and knows what is expected of them and when. We want to create transparency so that every stakeholder in the process has the information they need at any given time. And last but not least, we want to make it in such a way that it's an architectural fit to your landscape, maximizing deployment and maintainability by the customer themselves. Okay, so we saw our goals. Now, what does an optimized on-site logistics flow look like? In this case, we're talking about someone who has a pre-parking. We also developed a solution at sites where there's no pre-parking, but our optimized solution has a pre-parking, so we'll discuss it that way. When a truck arrives on site, you will first pass an ANPR camera recognizing its number plate, knowing which trucks are currently on your pre-parking. Once the driver has arrived, you will need to check in. On this check-in, we are going to identify which goods he's coming to pick up based on shipment ID or PO number. Once that this is done, he will need to identify himself, the driver, the truck, and also the haulier or the company he's working for. He can also perform a safety test, making sure that he's aware of all safety measures on your site. As we have the ANPR camera in the beginning and the driver has checked in, we can actually inform the guard who wants to come onto your site. This guard can actually do security checks, seeing that the truck is okay, that the driver is wearing the correct safety garments, and he can also validate everything that the driver has entered. We will inform the planner so that he can actually assign docks that are right for this truck driver. And we will inform the operator of trucks that are coming in. This way they can prioritize trucks and make sure they are unloading and loading in the correct order. Then we inform the truck driver that he can come onto your site. He drives into your site to the dock that was assigned to him, and the operator can actually do the loading and unloading. Once that this is done, of course, the truck driver wants to leave. But before he can exit your site, he will need to check out. So the same terminal or another terminal can be used to check out the driver. Here, the driver will need to validate that everything that he came to do has been done. He will be able to sign the documents digitally, and he can receive the documents that he needs to go on the road. So once that is done, and we've checked that everything is done, the driver can actually leave your site. All of this is captured into SAP. Also, we keep an attendee list. So at the moment someone enters your site, we know this, and we add them to the attendee list, giving you an overview of who is at that moment on site. Of course, this is also valid for visitors. So we have a manual application in which that you can register walk-in visitors, or we have the option to use pre-registered visitors. In this case, a host, one of your employees, will need to pre-register someone who's coming in. This can be either a visitor or a service contractor. These people will then receive an entry code. With that entry code, they can easily check in on our self-service check-in terminals. All the rest of the process happens about the same as we just discussed. They do the work, they can check out. Now, the question of course is, what is inside the package that we're offering? And I'll give the word to Fuad to go a bit more into detail on this.
Okay, thank you, Bert. So yes, let's talk about the core packages and what is inside the package. So first of all, you need to think of Lego blocks. Our solution is actually one big Lego block, but can also use separately. We can divide our package into 3 core components. We have the welcome terminal, which is a self-service platform. We have support application and integration connectors. Let's dive into each of one of them. So the first one is actually the welcome terminal, which is a kiosk where the driver will do the self-service check-in and check-out. It's a web application that runs on any device. As you can see on the image, this is a kiosk that can also run on a tablet or a mobile. It's fully integrated with SAP. Of course, any action done on the screen will automatically update something in SAP. We support multiple languages, which is obvious because we are working with drivers from all over the world. And every option in the tool can be configured per site. So let's go into more detail. So how does the process look like for a driver? So when a driver arrives at your site, he will have to go to the kiosk and do the check-in. So the first thing he'll have to do is, obvious, select the language. After he has selected the language, he will say which activity he wants to do. So he selects the activity, for example, check-in, load, unload, or unload and load. After you have done that, you will have to identify himself by entering one or multiple shipments or PO. At this moment in time, we will check in SAP if that shipment exists, for example, if he is on time, and if it's a correct site. and other checks, of course. After that, he will have to enter some information, like, for example, his name, his driver license number, and his truck number plate. Also, information that is saved in a shipment will also be pre-filled on the screen to help the process. Next, you'll have to watch a video and do a test. Of course, this part will not have to be executed every time a driver presents to your site, because he can be a frequent driver. And this is something you can configure per site, how long a test is valid. So for example, if a driver came in last week and did the test, well, probably the next week he will not have to watch the video and do the test again. After he has done finishing his work at your site, the driver will want to leave your site. But before he can do, they will first need to do the checkout. And also this part is a self-service. First, they will validate that the process was done. They will confirm the unload and load by signing on the kiosk, and that signature will be uploaded into the system. After he has signed, he will get documents and he will be able to leave the site. Just to give a better view on this, we will show a little demo of our application. So this video will show what the driver will do when he arrives at your site. So you'll go to the kiosk, and the first thing you'll have to do is select the language. After that, he will select the activity what he came for today. So he selects check-in, he selects load. Afterwards, he identifies himself by putting in one or multiple shipments. At this moment, we will see if that shipment exists, if it's the correct site, and if he's on time or not. If everything is okay, the driver confirms, and you will have to enter some information on the next screen. As you can see, some information is already pre-filled, but he still needs to fill in his first name, his mobile phone number, and his truck number plate. Those fields are required because it's possible that an operator wants to call the driver once he is on site. Next, you can see that the number plate has already been pre-filled, and the driver can fill in his truck trailer plate. Afterwards, he reviews the information that he has entered on the screen, and if everything is okay, he submits. As you can see, Bertrand-Bré is the first time that you arrive on your site, so you have to take the test. We warn the driver that he will have to watch a video and do a test afterwards. Also, the video is configurable per site and per language. After the video, the driver will have to answer some questions. Those questions are retrieved from the system randomly so that the question cannot be passed through other drivers. After you have passed the test successfully, he can continue, and you will get some information on how to continue on your site. Of course, the shipment is automatically updated in this AP. As you can see, the check-in has happened on the shipment. The next thing, after he has done his activity, he will want to check out. Again, he selects the language, he selects the activity, check out, and then he has to fill in his number plates. We will then retrieve all the shipments linked to this number plate and present it to the driver. The driver has to confirm by giving a signature. This signature will be uploaded into the system, and he can confirm, and we will give him the printed documents, and the driver can leave your site. Of course, the shipment again is automatically updated. As you can see, the shipment completion has been done, and the signature has been added as attachment to the shipment. So what have we seen? We have seen that the driver comes to the kiosk, does a self-service. After his activity is done, he does the checkout and gets the document so he can leave your site. So this was the welcome terminal. Now let's go into detail into the support application, which are actually tools that will help your operator, planner to do his daily work and optimize that process. So one of the first tools that we developed is the pre-registration, the visitor registration, where a host, so an employee of your company, will register a visitor at your site. This information can then be emailed to that visitor so he can have the access code or a QR code to enter your site. If the visitor is a recurring visitor, the host can just enter a period, for example, shown as below, from the 17th till the 25th of August, the visitor can come in so that the host do not have to re-register them every day. The next tool that we developed at ODTH is a pre-parking monitor, which is a tool that's connected with ANPR cameras to scan the number plate of the driver to see if he's allowed to enter the pre-parking. And if that's the case, the gates can open automatically. On the right top of the screen, you can see there is a button where you can open manually the gates. This tool is actually for the planner to see which driver is waiting on the pre-parking monitor for a spot on your site. The next tool is the operator app. This tool helps the operator to see which shipments are arriving that day. This will help him to plan and to organize his staff on that specific day. You can also set priorities on a shipment. For example, when a driver comes late, he will have a low priority. And then the last tool is the Swift rollout tool. For example, ATEX has over 100 sites all over the world. With this tool, they can onboard a new site within minutes. So now let's go to the third block of our solution, and that's the integration connectors. Of course, we have a standard integration with SAP. So every update that happens on the screen will automatically update something in SAP on our shipment. Of course, we have hook methods where we can implement or incorporate tools like transport management tools, for example, Transporium. This was the case at ATEX. But we are also ready to connect to other IoT devices. For example, we can automatically open gates when the drivers arrive by scanning his number plate and to see if that driver is allowed to enter your site. We also have docking sensors to see which dock is available so that a planner can guide a driver who is waiting on the pre-parking to guide him to the correct dock. And the last device that can be used is a driver license scanner. This will actually take a picture of the driver and update it into SAP. So those were the 3 building blocks of our solution. Now Bert will explain a little bit more about the optional contents that we can provide.
Indeed. So we just discussed the entire core. However, there are 2 things that we can add to further enhance your processes. The first one being the integration of intelligent technologies. Using intelligent technologies, we can further enhance your process, for example, by automated dock assignment. We have the camera saying which shipments are coming in. We have the self-service which confirms this. We also have the sensors at the docking stations. So with this information, we can actually provide a map of all the dockings that you have. If we even combine this with the VM information that we have, so your warehouse management, we could say with a triangle of information that we can calculate which is the best dock for which truck. Based on this, your operators and your planners can actually choose which dock they send it to. So that's automated dock assignment. Besides this, as we use a scanner to take a picture of the driver's license of the driver, we could use this information and this picture to apply OCR. So that's image recognition software to actually take text from that driver's license and already pre-fill it into the system, making sure that your self-service check-in goes even faster. So these are 2 examples of intelligent technologies that we could use to further enhance your process. Besides this, at ODTH, it was crucial to have a very good flexibility and to offer a lot of transparency to their customers. That's why also there, we've created a partner portal, showing the real-time information to your partners and be able to do slot management. So, for example, at ODTH, they can actually see when the driver came in, when they picked up their goods, when they left the site, making sure that they have a very detailed timestamp of everything that happened. This was then incorporated into, like this, a B2B business portal, which we discussed in the previous webinar. And with this, you can easily access the different applications for your partners. This actually sums up the entire package that we have built to do this. Now, as always, there is more than one way to roam. You can take your car, driving different routes. You can even fly or take a train. And this is also the case for optimizing your logistics flow on site, because there is a delivered SAP standard solution for this. This is the S/4HANA Yard Logistics. This solution covers the same processes and gives you the advantages of using a delivered SAP solution. However, our solution also works with R3 and has some additional features, such as the safety video and test. For us, it's important that you choose the solution that fits best. At Flexso, we have the expertise, both the digital part, where we know our tool, and the ERP part, where we know the Yard Logistics, to help you make the correct choice. Now, of course, the question is, if you choose to use our Welcome Terminal package, how do we go from concept to reality? How do we accomplish this? Well, our approach can be summed up in one slide. First of all, we will have a workshop where we discover your requirements. We will look at them in detail and make sure that we understand them. Then we will also present the packaged solutions, the Lego blocks, that we have. Based on a conversation about these, we will come to a fit gap analysis, knowing exactly where we need to adapt to make sure that it fits perfectly with your needs. This becomes our product backlog, knowing what we need to do to make sure that we deliver it in the right way. This has several advantages. The first one is, of course, the solution is tailored to your needs and to your specific situation. However, because we have the templates, which we call the building blocks, and we have our previous successes, the knowledge that we have, we can make sure that our time to delivery is very short. So we can deliver a tailored solution very fast. In a nutshell, that is how we take our approach to actually delivering the solution that you need. For the technical architecture, I happily give the word back to Fuad.
Okay, thank you, Bert. So yes, at this moment in time, we have two options of deployment. The first one is the deployment on-premise, where we will take the VU application and deploy it on your SAP gateway system. And through our data services, we will connect to the SAP ECC or S/4HANA. The end user will connect to the application through HTTPS via the Kiosk or any other mobile device. The second option that we have is the cloud deployment. There we take the VU application and we deploy it on the SAP Cloud platform. We then connect securely through the cloud connector to your SAP gateway and retrieve via our data services the data from your ECC or S/4HANA system. Again, the end users connect to a VU application through the Kiosk or any other mobile device. Of course, those two solutions are in line with the best practices of SAP, but we know that every landscape is different. So the first thing you would do when you decide to implement our solution is to sit down together and see what is the best fit for your landscape. I think we have said everything we want to say about our solution, and let's have a little recap of what we tried to say in the previous slides. So we had objectives, and the first one was to reduce the manual work. I think this was the case by introducing the self-service for the driver, so the check-in and the check-out. The second one was to optimize the communication. By removing the language barrier, we did that, and also by updating SAP immediately. Also, another one is to create transparency. As we said before, SAP is a single source of truth, and this can be accessed by any stakeholder. And of course, it's a fit for your landscape because our solution is developed in such a way that it's easy to implement and to maintain by your SAP internal team. I think we have said everything, and that now Bert can go over to the last chapter.
And the last chapter is, of course, your questions. As you may have noticed, Fuad and I always switch places because we need to keep our distance for COVID measures, of course. If everything goes right, my colleague now will open the Q&A session. And hopefully I get to see the very first question. I think we're having some technical difficulties. It's, as they say, when nothing goes wrong, it isn't live. Okay, there our first question is. You talked about scanners, etc. Which ones are included? Well, what we tried to do was create a hardware agnostic solution. That was for us very important because you might already have things like ANPR cameras or other scanners that you might use, or even other IoT devices, or the hardware from the kiosk, the touch screens. That's why we work with connection possibilities, and we prepared our solution to be able to connect to these things easily. So included are none. However, we have a very good cooperation with other partners within our ecosystem because we are part of the Kronos group. We can actually work with them if you're looking for specific scanners. So in the detailed analysis that we'll do, where we take your requirements and look at our packages, we can also look together at those hardware requirements. But again, for us, it was very important to make a hardware agnostic terminal. So you can use touchscreen, as you saw with ATEX. You can have the solution that we have at ODTH, which is very a built-in screen together with the ID scanner. So everything is possible here. I hope that answers a bit of the question. How does the truck driver receive the dock number after check-in? Here again, we have multiple possibilities. As you saw, we have a solution where there's still a guard available. So that guard does the final check, seeing that the truck driver actually wears the correct garments and that his truck is in order, that he has every rope that he needs and everything is good. At that point in time, the truck driver can get his number from the dock number from that guard. It is also possible that you send him a text. This is not fully included in our solution because often this is already there. But you have the truck driver's telephone number, so it's able to send them via text. Also, other options, big screens, are a possibility. So this is something that, again, we will need to look at your specific situation. Do you have a pre-parking? Don't you have a pre-parking? Are they already on your site, yes or no? That's something, again, that can be very easily discussed in our first workshop. We go into the next question. Do we need licenses for this? That's a very good one, because you have one part that's the indirect use part. You open up your SAP system to users who are not actual named users. However, talking to your local SAP, of course, and looking at your contract, what we can offer is a range of solutions. One of them being that we actually use a named technical user to supply the information to SAP. Again, SAP licensing is always different for different customers, so we'll have to have a look at this solution. Also, as Suat discussed, we have two options setting this up, being on-premise or in the cloud. If you use on the cloud, of course, you will also need the license for SAP, which means sub-cloud platform. Since the accelerator is cloud-based, do we provide our own hardware, or is hardware included in the solution? I think I answered this question before, but to summarize again, hardware is not included in the solution, but it's possible that we work together with our partners in the ecosystem to provide it to you. How many languages can you use? That's a very good question, because we didn't really say so. We believe that the translations should be done by you, because it's a specific solution for a specific site. Giving all the translations should be done by the customer. We support, of course, any language that is supported by SAP. This means that we can provide information even in writings that go from right to left, because we also work with clients who have sites worldwide. So that's a given. You can use as many languages as you use, as long as they are supported by SAP. But think about Arabic, Polish, all those things. And translations can be done together or by you. Is there a possibility to use QR? Depends on what you're talking about, but the answer is in both times, I think, yes. So first, if you talk about the visitor registration program, where you have a host registering a visitor coming in, of course, we can simply generate a QR there and send it to visitor or the service contractor. They can then show their smartphone to the camera that we have, scan the QR code, and we know it's visitor entry code. So their QR code is very easy to use. Another possibility is, of course, in your logistics process. Here we will have to look at how do you work with your partners. Again, technically this is very feasible, but it's very difficult to implement, I think, in your logistics process with all your different partners. But that's something, if possible, we can look at together again in that first workshop. So for QR, I think for visitors, this is a very good solution and absolutely possible. To do it in your logistics process, we'll have to have a closer look. I think we are through all of the questions. Let's see if there is anyone popping up. I'll give you a couple of seconds. If you have a question, just type "I have a question." Okay, no, I think we've had all of the questions for today. So I really would like to thank you for the questions that have been asked. They all were on topic. That's also very good. And I'm happy to see you again in one of our next seminars. Thank you very much.